Hey, thanks for tuning in. In this video, we're going to talk about sharing Torah forever and all the days. Whenever the Torah was being shared with me early on, whenever I was being presented with the case that yes, the Torah still does apply, and yes, we should be following it today in order to serve our Elohim, whenever that was being presented to me, one set of points that I found to be particularly persuasive was the fact that many of the commands say that they are forever. There are many verses that use the Hebrew word olam, which is typically translated as forever, eternal, everlasting, perpetual, etc. And so we could be looking at this English translation and see there are all these commands that say that they are forever. And that obviously is probably going to be pretty compelling. And it was compelling for me, and I'm pretty sure it was compelling to other people that I knew as well. And it may have been compelling to you as well. The thing is that the word olam, which is the word that's being translated as forever in this case, may not carry that exact meaning to it. There are some situations where the word olam is used where it could certainly be argued that, see, it doesn't mean forever, it doesn't mean eternal. And this is indeed something that is going on now. It was not something that I noticed whenever I was first sharing the Torah with people 10 years ago, for example, but it's something that I have noticed repeatedly over the past couple years, that people are bringing up that as a counterpoint to the Torah applying today. And pastors are sharing this with people and saying that, well, olam doesn't mean forever, so people saying that it means forever, don't listen to them because they're wrong. They don't know about what we know about. And this is effectively a valid point in some ways. It does not matter how persuasive this was to us. It does not matter how persuasive we think this point is once we have that awareness that it doesn't exactly mean that. Because I believe we should be completely forthright about how we're presenting the Torah. I do not think that the end justifies the means. So even though we may believe that we are in the right, even though we know that the Torah is the right way, we have to be aware that everyone else believes they're in the right too. And that does not justify them obscuring any details or misleading people, even if they think it's just a tiny way that something is being obscured or misled. So we need to be forthright, in my view. And if we're being forthright about this issue, we would be saying something like, well, look at all these examples of where it says forever, but by the way, it doesn't exactly mean forever, but it kind of basically does. If we said something like that, obviously that greatly diminishes the effectiveness of it. And if we don't say something like that, we're easily setting someone up to go talk to their pastor or go talk to someone else or do some research and see the counterpoint, the valid counterpoint that, hey, it doesn't exactly mean forever, which is just a opportunity for them to dismiss you as not credible. So we need to be credible in how we're presenting things, and we need to be forthright. The ends does not justify the means. We need to be honest and direct in how we're presenting things. So I do not think that saying, look at these examples of where it says forever, I do not think this is a particularly effective approach anymore. And it may be disappointing, and there may be this kind of temptation to use it because it was used on us, but I don't actually think we need to use it. Because there are other wordings that do not have the same counter argument against them. And they do not require that same exact explanation either. The phrase, all the days, is used in reference to the Torah and is used in reference to the Levitical priesthood. We see this in Deuteronomy 11:1. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim, and you shall guard his guard, and his enactments, and his judgments, and his commandments, all of the days. And in Deuteronomy 18:5, in reference to the Levitical priesthood, in him Yahuwah your Elohim chose from all your tribes to stand to minister in name of Yahuwah, he and his sons, all of the days. So here we have two examples where the phrase all the days is being used in the Hebrew. Now, something you may notice, though, if you're looking at an English translation, some English translations don't render it that way. They just render it as forever or something along those lines, just like they would for the word olam. So you need to be clear and actually specify that when you're sharing it if you choose to do this. If you choose to use this passage, make sure that it's clear. This is not the word that's used in other verses that may or may not mean forever. This says all the days. It says the commands apply all the days in the Hebrew. And it would be good if you could actually show them that visually. It would probably be more compelling. But people need to be aware of this because the pastor is probably going to tell them, oh, well, it doesn't mean forever. And so they need to know that this is not that word. This is not olam. This is different. Here we have all the days. All the days is applied to the commands, and it's also applied to the Levitical priesthood. The Levitical priesthood is one of the things that people are most apt to say is irrelevant now. They're most likely to say that if anything is obsolete from the commands, they're going to isolate the Levitical priesthood and the tabernacle issues as being obsolete. But here we have, they are ministering all of the days. So I think this is a much better point to make than the olam point. It doesn't matter, in my view, how persuasive olam might have been to us early on. I think we need to be forthright in how we're presenting things. And here we have all the days. Thanks for watching. Be sure that you check out some of my other videos on other Torah issues, and feel free to stay in touch so we can continue this discussion. Thanks for watching. Remember the commands. Shalom.